epic, mythic adventure story of the year doesn't actually feature dragons or spaceships.
Right, no ancient prophecies or anything like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. None of that. It actually features a scruffy 18-month-old terrier on a Sunday morning in Belfast.
Which is just, I mean, it's such a brilliant setup.
It really is. We are looking at a narrative landscape today
Yeah.
that basically takes the absolute mundanity of a morning dog walk.
Just a totally normal routine.
Right, and it transforms it into this absolute masterclass on mythology, biology, and human psychology.
It's so fascinating.
Welcome to today's deep dive. If you have a pet, or honestly, if you just, have a routine you feel kind of stuck in, this is going to fundamentally change how you view your daily surroundings.
Oh, absolutely. It re-engineers reality.
So we are unpacking this brilliantly detailed concept for a short film. It's by a creator named Robbie, and it's titled Dobby and Robbie Sunday Morning at Waterworks Park, Belfast.
And Dobby, of course, is the ginger Norfolk Terrier in question.
Yes, Dobby is the star. But the mission here isn't just to talk about a cute dog. We are breaking down how Robbie uses a very specific word to reframe everything, and that word is lore.
Yeah, the deliberate use of that word lore, that's really the engine driving this entire concept.
Right.
Because Robbie isn't merely walking his dog to, burn off breakfast calories. He is actively framing this 18-month-old terrier as the little explorer of Belfast.
I love that title, The Little Explorer.
It's great, right? By applying the concept of lore, he's doing something humans have basically done for millennia. He's mapping a hero's journey onto the chaotic, instinct-driven natural world.
Because we crave that, right? Like narrative structure.
Exactly. We want to see archetypes. So when Robbie builds this lore, he is using storytelling to bridge the gap between our domesticated modern lives and those ancient wild instincts that are, they're still very much alive in the animals living right in our living rooms.
And that framing is exactly what pulls you in as the viewer. He gives the dog a title. It forces us to view every single thing this animal does not as just random biological noise,
Right, but as deliberate actions.
Yeah, the calculated actions of an adventurer on a quest. And every quest requires a very specific landscape, which brings us to the geography.
The setting is so important here.
It is. So they arrive at the main gates of Waterworks Park in Belfast. This geography is the catalyst for the entire story. The park is a public green space, but it's built over former reservoir land.
Which is key.
Yeah, you have mixed gravel paths, dense tree lines, and most importantly, large bodies of open water.
Right, and that open water is the exact topographical trigger for Dobby's genetic memory.
Because of his breed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Norfolk Terriers are descended directly from working terriers. Generations of selective breeding shape them to navigate open ground, flush out pests, and meticulously patrol water edges.
So it's not just a nice place for a walk.
No, bringing Dobby to a park built on old reservoirs isn't just a scenic choice by Robbie. He's placing him in an environment that perfectly mirrors the world. His DNA was literally programmed to conquer.
The park is essentially a lock, and Dobby's breed history is the key.
That's a great way to put it.
It's like dropping a highly trained, specialized operative into the exact terrain they spent their whole life training for. The environment is practically pulling the instinct out of him.
It really is.
But I do want to push back a little bit on how much we might be romanticizing what happens next.
Okay, let's hear it.
So they step through the main gates, right? The sun is out, the tail is wagging, and Dobby suddenly stops dead in his tracks.
The classic Norfolk posture.
Right. He plants his paws firm, pricks his ears up, sniffs a wooden gatepost, and gives this tiny single woof.
Yeah.
Now, Robbie frames this in his lore as Dobby marking his territory of discovery, like a deliberate ritual to begin the adventure. But biologically speaking, isn't he just processing the local scent markers left by other dogs?
You mean is he just sniffing pee?
Yeah, exactly. Are we just putting a superhero cape on a very basic bodily function?
Well, from a strictly physiological perspective, yes, he is gathering data. But let's look at what that data actually is.
Okay.
It's not just a quick sniff. He is accessing like an olfactory blockchain.
Wait, an olfactory blockchain? I love that.
It's true. That gatepost holds a layered chronological chemical ledger of every single dog or fox or badger that has passed through that gate in the last 48 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Dobby is downloading their size, their diet, their stress levels, and their reproductive status in a matter of seconds.
That's insane.
Robbie knows this is an instinctual behavior, but he elevates it. By calling attention to that posture, the firm paws, the hyper-alert ears, He aligns the biological reality with the narrative overlay.
So the tiny woof isn't just a random bark. In the context of the lore, it's him signing the guest book.
Exactly.
He has decoded the chemical ledger, analyzed the risks, and officially stamped his approval on the expedition. He's an explorer checking his compass and nodding to his crew before stepping into the jungle.
And it creates this shared reality between the owner and the dog. Robbie isn't dragging Dobby into the park. Dobby is granting them both permission to enter the territory.
That shifts the whole dynamic.
It does. And once he gives that approval, his entire demeanor shifts. He moves off the gravel path and heads straight down to the main water basin.
And the visual contrast here is just striking. You have this bright, glinting gold water, ducks gliding smoothly, reeds swaying in the breeze.
It's very idyllic.
Yeah, and then you have this scruffy, intense little ginger terrier pacing the edge. He gets a new title here in the lore, the guardian of the bank.
Because he doesn't jump in.
Right, he doesn't go swimming. He just meticulously checks every stone, every clump of grass, every mud puddle along the shoreline.
And this is where that working terrier ancestry takes over completely.
Mm.
A working dog doesn't just blindly plunge into an unknown body of water.
They need to assess it first.
Exactly. They secure the perimeter. They manage the boundary between the safe land and the unpredictable water.
So calling him the guardian of the bank.
By dubbing him that, Robbie is acknowledging the immense focus and restraint it takes for a dog to patrol an edge without breaking discipline.
And during this patrol, he actually finds a prop that completely cements the explorer archetype.
The twig.
Yes. He discovers this fallen oak twig. He picks it up and carries it so proudly.
It's so cute.
The notes capture him trotting with his head held incredibly high, the twig clamped firmly in his jaw. Robbie calls this his explorer's symbol, essentially a staff of office.
The psychology of object possession in dogs is fascinating here, by the way.
How so?
Well, dogs often carry objects to demonstrate resource-holding potential. It shows other animals that they have something of value and a strength to retain it.
Like a flex.
Basically, yeah. But in the mythology of the little explorer, this oak twig becomes a talisman. It's a physical piece of the conquered territory that he is now taking ownership of.
We see this all the time, right? A dog will find one remarkably average, slightly rotting branch, ignore 50 identical branches.
Oh, completely ignore them.
And guard this specific one with their life for 3 miles.
Yeah.
It's hilarious, but when you frame it as a talisman, it suddenly feels almost Arthurian. Like he pulled the sword from the stone, and now he has to carry it to the end of the quest.
And that quest immediately moves into its next phase. Staff in mouth, Dobby leads the way away from the water basin, moving up toward the tree-lined paths and into an open meadow.
Which triggers the sense quest.
Yes. This area is a known wildlife corridor,
Yeah.
which triggers what Robbie brilliantly categorizes as the sense quest.
I actually find this concept of the sense quest to be the most profound part of the whole journey.
It really makes you think.
It does. We watch Dobby pause. He's listening to a blackbird. He's burying his nose in wild clover. The creator even notes how Dobby seems to just stand still and feel the physical warmth of the sun radiating through his coarse, weatherproof coat.
He's mapping the environment in 3D.
Yeah, it's like he's downloading the local morning news through his nose and paws.
Well, we have to remember that humans navigate the world almost entirely through a visual hierarchy. If we don't see something, it practically doesn't exist to us.
Right. Out of sight, out of mind.
But a dog's brain, particularly a terrier bred to track, is structured entirely differently. Their olfactory bulb is exponentially larger than ours.
So they're getting way more information.
Exactly. When Dobby is standing in that meadow, he isn't just looking at grass. He's experiencing a complex, multidimensional symphony of chemical compounds, air currents, and microsounds.
It's the difference between us looking at a flat black and white photograph of a meadow and Dobby walking through a fully immersive 4K virtual reality simulation of that exact same space.
Like a perfect analogy.
The Sense Quest honors the fact that the dog's perception of reality is actually far richer and more detailed than the human holding the leash.
And because his perception is so rich, his reaction to it is incredibly deliberate.
Which brings us to the digging.
Yes, this specific physical action Dobby takes in the meadow. He stops near the root of an old tree, drops his nose to the dirt, and executes a short, vigorous digging motion.
And Robbie refers to this as an adventure trace.
Right.
Now, Robbie is careful to clarify that Dobby is not trying to dig a hole to escape, and he's not trying to unearth a buried bone.
No, it's not about digging something up.
He digs a shallow trench, steps back, visibly inspects his own work, looks up at Robbie, and then moves on. So, if he's not trying to get something out of the ground, what is the biological purpose of this trace?
This is actually one of the most misunderstood canine behaviors.
Really?
Yeah. Dogs have highly concentrated interdigital scent glands located right between the pads of their paws.
Oh, wow.
So when a dog like Dobby does a localized, vigorous scratch at the earth after sniffing a spot, he is actively deploying a heavy dose of his own unique chemical signature deep into the soil.
Wait, so he isn't just taking information out of the environment, he is actively injecting his own data back into the olfactory blockchain.
Exactly.
He is stamping his signature on the territory.
He is leaving a permanent, localized record that says, I, Dobby, was here and I claimed this space.
That is so cool.
And Robbie weaves this biological reality seamlessly into the lore. The adventure trace isn't just a dog kicking up dirt. It is the little explorer leaving a marker, a signpost for whoever comes next.
It's an act of environmental authorship.
Yes.
It is so satisfying to realize there is an actual chemical mechanism behind what just looks like random scratching. He is literally writing the lore into the ground.
And having authored his presence in the meadow, the narrative naturally forces them upward.
Because you can't have an epic adventure without conquering the high ground.
Naturally. They reach a small grassy rise that offers a panoramic view of the entire park. Robbie dubs this Dobby's Lookout.
Dobby's Lookout. It sounds like something out of Lord of the Rings.
It does. And the lookout represents a vital psychological concept known as prospect and refuge.
Prospect and refuge.
Yeah, both humans and animals have an evolutionary drive to seek out environments that offer a clear, unimpeded view of potential hazards or opportunities. That's the prospect.
Okay, seeing what's out there.
Right, while also providing a sense of safety or an easy escape route, and that's the refuge.
Oh, that makes total sense. It's the exact same reason that when we walk into a crowded coffee shop, our brain immediately wants to claim the corner booth facing the door.
Exactly.
We want to see everything without anything sneaking up behind us.
Precisely. By taking the high ground at Dobby's Lookout, the terrier is fulfilling a deep-seated evolutionary need to secure his environment.
So he's up there, the breeze is running through his ginger fur,
Yeah.
and he is visually and olfactory, surveying the water, the paths, and the meadow he has just traversed.
This is the moment in the story where Dobby calculates all the data he's gathered and determines that the territory is secure.
And it's right at this moment of absolute security that they encounter a variable.
The strangers.
Yeah. A few passers-by walk up the hill, approaching them. And Robbie makes a point to detail exactly how Dobby reacts to these strangers.
Which is really important for his character.
Right. He says Dobby offers a polite sniff, stands his ground, and makes absolutely no fuss. Robbie highlights this as the ultimate proof of his alert, friendly Norfolk character.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, why focus on the lack of a reaction? Like, why is doing nothing considered a brag in this lore?
Well, think about the archetype of the seasoned explorer.
Okay.
True confidence doesn't look like frantic energy, and it certainly doesn't look like aggression. If Dobby had lunged at the strangers or barked frantically or cowered behind Robbie's legs,
It would indicate that he felt threatened.
exactly, it would completely shatter the illusion of the brave adventurer.
Right, because an anxious dog doesn't own the territory. An anxious dog is just a guest hoping not to get kicked out.
Exactly.
By making no fuss, Dobby is proving that he is completely at ease, he has prospect, he has refuge, and he is unfazed by new arrivals.
He's like a benevolent king, greeting visitors in his court.
I love that image.
The polite sniff demonstrates awareness, he knows they are there, but the lack of a fuss demonstrates unshakable security.
It's the ultimate character development moment.
It really is. It validates everything that happened before it. You know, the checking of the gatepost, the guarding of the bank, the leaving of the adventure trace. It all culminates in this quiet, undeniable confidence on the hill.
It really is a hero's journey, just perfectly scaled down to fit into a 7-minute window on a Sunday morning.
It's brilliant.
So let's look at the complete picture here. By the end of this morning stroll at Waterworks Park, Dobby hasn't just burned off some breakfast calories.
Not at all.
He has decoded the chemical history of the gates. He has secured the perimeter of the water basin. He has claimed his oak twig talisman,
He mapped the meadow on his sense quest,
authored his presence into the soil, and successfully held the high ground at the lookout.
all in one walk.
And as they head back toward the exit, Robbie notes that Dobby is tired, he is content, and he is remarkably still clutching that oak twig.
He is bringing the relic back to the sanctuary of home.
It's such a complete narrative.
And the entire exercise asks a really powerful question of anyone listening. When you walk your pet, or when you commute to work, or when you just take a walk around your own neighborhood,
Mm.
what lens are you looking through?
Are you just logging steps and checking your watch?
Yeah, viewing the landscape is just dead space to push through.
Or are you paying attention to the topography? Are you recognizing the history beneath the pavement?
Robbie proves that the line between a tedious, mundane chore and a legendary adventure isn't determined by where you are,
It's entirely determined by the level of attention you are willing to pay.
and the story you are willing to project onto your surroundings. He watches his dog not as a pet to be managed, but as a protagonist to be studied.
Which brings up something tucked away at the very bottom of Robbie's concept notes. And this is something that completely shifts how you think about this kind of myth-making.
Oh, the audio notes.
Yes. For a video that is entirely about epic lore, guardians, and sense quests, you would expect him to want a massive, sweeping, cinematic soundtrack.
Right, the kind of orchestral music you hear in a fantasy movie.
Exactly. But he explicitly bans it. He writes, "Keep natural sounds, birds, wind, Dobby's tiny paws on gravel for warmth." He wants zero artificial background music.
It seems almost counterintuitive at first glance, doesn't it?
It really does.
We are so conditioned to believe that for something to feel important, it needs a soundtrack. We add music to our short videos. We wear headphones everywhere we go.
Constantly.
We constantly try to score our own lives to make them feel more significant.
Exactly. We try to artificially inject the epic into our routines. But Robbie realizes that the most profound mythology doesn't come from hyping reality up.
It comes from stripping the noise away.
It makes you wonder, why is it that to feel true, epic mythology in our own lives, we don't need to add a soundtrack at all? We just need to strip away the artificial noise, quiet our own minds, and actually listen to the raw sounds of the world happening right in front of us.
Just listening to reality.
Yeah. The next time you step out your front door, maybe leave the headphones on the counter. Just listen to the wind or the sound of your own footsteps on the gravel. You might just hear the start of your own adventure.